Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. And with today, we'll be exposing Kimberly Cheadle, the director of the Secret Service, and her getting completely and utterly roasted because she is failing. She pretty much deliberately let Trump get shot at this point with malice, and I think that is something that we're going to have to be discussing today because what you guys are going to see here is going to be pretty crazy. It's like she's not answering questions, she's not being truthful, and all that, and so you have to direct it to the FBI, and it's just like, no, lady, you're the director of the Secret Service. You need to answer these questions here, and you're all going to find that right now. Where we have this here from the Daily Mail saying Secret Service security failures are revealed in crucial document that describes how agents allowed an armed guard with 3 arrests to ride in an elevator with President Obama. Ooh, that doesn't look very good, now does it? So it says here that Secret Service failures that may have allowed the assassination attempt on Donald Trump were caught out by a congressional watchdog 9 years ago. Now that watchdog is calling for the resignation of the agency's chief, Kimberly Cheadle, on the day she is giving testimony to Congress. It goes on to say that in 2015, the House Oversight Committee published a 200-page report on the United States Secret Service that described an agency in crisis with systematic mismanagement, chronic underfunding, and an extraordinary inefficient hiring process, and many employees who do not have confidence in agency leadership. Report author and former top oversight staff Tristan Levitt, who now runs a whistleblower organization, told DailyMail.com that the Trump shooting showed those same problems persist today. Almost a decade later, it looks like the Secret Service is suffering from some of the exact same problems it did 10 years ago, said Levitt, president of Empower Oversight. Whether Director Cheadle resigns or is removed, she should be replaced with a director from outside the agency who can clean shop from top to bottom. It goes on to say that Levitt pointed to reports that critical security at least weekend's Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania was left to potentially inexperienced or under-trained counter-sniper teams from local police rather than a cracked Secret Service units, as well as evidence of likely poor communication between local police and USSS. Now, here's the thing here we have with this is that when they're talking about this person, Kimberly Cheadle, she was put into service on, I may believe, of somewhere in the year 2022. So she can't necessarily be responsible for anything that happened during the Obama era because she wasn't really there, I may believe, in 2022, or at the very least was not a director of the Secret Service back in those years, so you can't really put that on her, but the rest of all this with the Trump assassination and everything, yeah, you 100% put this on her, and she was put in 2022, so obviously it was by the Joe Biden administration putting this honestly disgraceful woman on there. So what we have here is from Benny Johnson. Boom! Representative Anna Paulina Luna leaves. Disgraced Secret Service Director Cheadle shaking and in silence after catching her in perjury lie. You have perjured yourself. I ask that we bring perjury charges against the director. We are prepared to hold you in contempt.
Director Cheadle,
And this is what we have here. So without further ado, my friends, let's get into it.
give me the names of the individuals who are in charge of your con-op for the rally.
I'm not going to release names.
Can you give me the
today.
titles? And how many individuals?
No.
Nothing?
We had a full advance team that was responsible for advancing
How many
the site.
people are the final approval authority?
There are a number of people
Can you
that
give me a
are
number?
engaged in approving
Can you
the
give
plan.
me a number?
No, I do not have
Okay.
a firm number.
Can you just confirm whether or not, I understand this is an open investigation, but in order to dispel conspiracy theories, have you guys been able to subpoena the shooter's Discord records, or has the FBI, to your knowledge?
I believe that the FBI is working on those.
Okay. Is it factual to say that you have not ruled out that the shooter was working with other people or persons?
Again, the FBI is conducting the criminal investigation into
Can
the
you,
shooter.
at least in an effort to dispel conspiracy theories, can you confirm or deny that?
At this time, we do not have that there were any other people engaged.
So you believe he was acting alone?
I do.
Okay. Have you been made aware of multiple eyewitness reporting that there was a second shooter on a water tower?
I do not have any information related to any second shooter.
Okay, the reason I asked that is because according to testimony from multiple witnesses, they did report that. And again, to my understanding, there were over 40 sniper teams that were briefed by the Butler ESU. And I want to make sure that people are aware, if you're saying that there's not another shooter, that we are able to clear that information, because from this whole entire briefing, it doesn't seem like much information has been able to get out to the American people. So I'm trying to dispel rumors, as I'm sure you understand. Was it true that Secret Service was present at the Butler ESU briefing?
There was a briefing between the counter sniper teams that were working
Secret
on the
Service
ground.
present?
Yes, to my knowledge.
Okay, I want to read you a report from people that seem to be throwing you under the bus and stated that they were in attendance and that Secret Service was not in attendance at the security briefing, according to individuals with knowledge, to also include that the AGR building where the shooter Thomas Matthew Crooks was located was actually not a part of their security perimeter for that.
So she is getting pretty destroyed. I'm not gonna do a full thing. I may actually do a stream tomorrow with the full stuff, so I may keep this I may actually keep this on so everybody can see a full listing, or I may do actual videos where we have just a full list of what's been going on and what some of the people have, because that might be a better idea. But what we have here is that holy shit, Kimberly Cheeto just refused to answer if Thomas Crooks was a lone gunman, which contradicts what she's saying here.
Your agency has a no-fail mission, and on Saturday, July 13th, your agency spectacularly failed. The failure resulted in the death of Corey Comparator and serious injury to two other rally attendees, David Dutch and James Copenhaver, besides the injuries to President Trump. It is unfathomable that a 20-year-old on the radar of Secret Service and local law enforcement before President Trump went on stage was able to climb onto the roof of a building with a rifle and fire off multiple rounds before he was neutralized. Was Mr. Crooks acting alone?
Again, I would have to refer you to the FBI's investigation.
Was he just a lone gunman?
I would have to refer you to the FBI's investigation for motive.
Your agency...
So she's actively refusing to say that to say, oh well, this was not if this was a lone gunman or not a lone gunman. I think we should not have to direct ourselves to the FBI again, lady. You are the one that is the director of the Secret Service. The buck stops with you. So obviously, after over a week of information, we know what's going on here, and I think you would know more information than the rest of the public. So that being said, we don't need to direct the FBI to us anything. You're in the middle of Congress. You're in the middle of the committee. You need to speak and make sense here. And this is just a disgusting part of all this, man. Like, it's like every single time, it's like you guys just kind of constantly try to remove yourself from actual responsibility and behavior. We have more of this from Benny Johnson saying, Representative Lynch, did he have a rangefinder? That would certainly raise my suspicion. Cheeto, yes he did. A rangefinder is not a prohibited item. Oh boy.
Did he have a rangefinder? There were some reports that the individual had a rangefinder. That would certainly raise my suspicion. Did he have a rangefinder?
Yes, he did, but may I explain that at a number of our sites, especially when you're at outdoor venues, a rangefinder is not a prohibited item. It is sometimes an item that is brought in by individuals if you're going to be in the back.
Did anybody confront him on that? Anybody ask him questions? What are you doing with the rangefinder? Anybody confront him on his presence where he was in proximity to the president?
So again, to my knowledge, I believe that was the process that was taking place, was to locate the individual.
Did they confront him? Did they go up to him? Did they talk to him?
I do not have those details at this time.
Those are important details.
We know that he confronted him. We have reports from the police saying that they confronted him, met eye to eye with the shooter. So she's lying here again. And the fact that she says a rangefinder is not a prohibited item. Okay, maybe it's not a prohibited item in other scenarios where the president is not involved. However, when the president is involved, I probably think this is a shot in the dark here, right? Maybe I'm a little insane, but maybe a rangefinder would be a actual problem and not a prohibited item if if the president is involved. Doesn't it seem that a little suspicious to you? Like, hello? And I think that you're not trying to answer this question again. It's probably showing a bit more malice here than meets the eye. And what we have here from Benny Johnson, we're only going to do a minute of this one, says Jim Jordan inside disgraced Secret Service Director Kim Cheeto's career in scorched earth public humiliation. Secret Service Director admits under oath to purposely weakening Trump's security detail amid a massive threat to Trump's life. Cheeto must be charged and arrested.
The day after President Trump is shot, Secret Service spokesman Anthony Guglielmi said, quote, "The assertion that a member of the former president's security team requested additional security resources that the U.S. Secret Service or the Department of Homeland Security rebuffed is absolutely false." The next day, Secretary Mayorkas said, "That is an unequivocally false assertion. We had not received any request for additional security measures that were rebuffed." But 5 days later, the Washington Post said this: "Top officials repeatedly rejected requests from Donald Trump's security detail for more personnel." The next day, the New York Times said this: "Mr. Guglielmi acknowledged that the Secret Service had turned down some requests for additional federal security assets for Mr. Trump's detail." So which is it? Because both statements can't be true. Were you guessing or lying when you said you didn't turn down requests from President Trump's detail?
Neither, sir, and I appreciate the question.
Well, what were you doing? Because those statements don't jive.
Again, she is lying about the whole situation here. This is insane. She's saying that the security detail wasn't weakening. Well, we have this here where it shows like Trump's security detail was weakened. So I don't know what type of drug she's taking. Maybe we should investigate because it must be some really good drugs in order to be lying at this measure. But yeah, that's what's insane here. And we have this saying 9/11 from End Wilkins saying 9/11. I would like to report a homicide victim. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheeto.
Awful event. Now, Director Cheeto, would you agree that this is the most serious security lapse since President Reagan was shot in 1981 of the Secret Service?
Yes, sir, I would.
And do you know what Stuart Knight did when he was in charge at the time of the Secret Service? Do you know what he did afterwards?
He remained on duty.
He resigned. And Stuart Knight was not a Democratic appointee or a Republican appointee. Look, I'm not questioning your judgment. An awful event.
So yeah, but she doesn't even know this history of the Secret Service, and she's like, oh, he stayed on duty. No. He stayed there. He's like based man here. What's his name? Kahana here says, no. He resigned. Yeah, you're an idiot. He resigned. And then again, we have this here from The question of the Secret Service is getting wild, and I may believe this is from Miss Mace. And she's handing the book to her.
You stated earlier, Secret Service is not political. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say leaking your opening statement to Punchbowl News, Politico's Playbook, and Washington Post several hours before you sent it to this committee as being political? Yes or no?
I have no idea how my statement got out.
Well, that's bullshit. Have you provided all audio and video recordings in your possession to this committee, as we asked on July 15th, yes or no?
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman, you stated earlier.
This woman laid in the hammer to Cheeto here. She got that hammer and said, bitch, please, and hit her with it, and hit her and get it with again. Like, this is the type of strength that you need, and calling out the BS of these people. And
Chair recognizes.
And then we even have this. This is from AOC, guys. AOC to Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle. This is about the safety of the most highly targeted and valued targets internationally and domestically in the United States of America. So, the idea that a report will be finalized in 60 days is simply not acceptable.
Ms. Ocasio-Cortez from New York.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Cheadle, respectfully, what you had just laid out about 60 days, we are currently in the midst of an especially concentrated presidential campaign in the moment. That is also paired with, of course, elections happening across the country that are happening in about 100 days. So the notion of a report coming out in 60 days when the threat environment is so high in the United States, irrespective of party, is not acceptable. And I think it's very important to understand that.
So even AOC is destroying her in this. And here's what I have to say about all this, guys. I think that this woman did it with malice. That's my opinion on this matter. And I think that this woman should be arrested and charged for either involuntary manslaughter of President Donald Trump and with some malice, because there's no way you can get away with this. At this point, she's lying to Congress, she's lying to the committee, she's lying to everybody here, not being truthful to her questions, not answering questions. At this point, what else do you have here other than to say, well, this woman has to be lying, this woman has to be not being truthful, because obviously she's hiding something. She's obviously hiding something, because if she was not hiding something, she would be truthful to us, right? She would not be beating around the bush or doing these lies. And I think that this woman needs to be arrested and charged, because at this point there's just no way getting around it. All the presidents, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and JFK at this current point in time are all in serious danger if this woman is kept to be in her seat, because obviously she failed miserably. A president almost lost his life, and she has to own up to it, resign, and well, face the time behind bars. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care.